Do you know what? I'm trying to go down to the Oval for what should be Stuart Broad's last day of cricket. And I looked last night, can't get a ticket anywhere. But England praying for one last Stuart Broad fairy tale as they attempt to draw the series. He's got his final day as a professional cricketer, with England needing to take 10 Aussie wickets to win the 5th test. And that fills the back pages today. Stu I's fairy tale, says The Sun. Daily Mail, we need you one last time. Daily Express, Stew Monday. Is that meant to be Blue Monday? That's Blue Monday, isn't it? Stew Monday, very good. And Your Country Needs Stew is a tap-in from the Daily Mirror. Later on in the show, we're going to be joined by the former England opener and Stuart's dad, Chris Broads, who was he was there yesterday, actually. He'll be on the show later. Also a former England teammate of Stuart Broad's, Graeme Swan. Played with him from his county as well, the former spinner and England cricket legend as well. So we will be focusing on that a little bit later on. Elsewhere, though, football-wise, Sting Raya in the Sun. This one absolutely bowled me over when I saw it yesterday. Thomas Frank has told Arsenal they'll need to pay big money for goalkeeper David Raya, just like they did for Declan Rice. So Arsenal, this is definite. This is absolutely nailed on. They are interested in David Raya. It's whether they meet the fee and whether they get their man. So what happens to Aaron Ramsdale is the big question. Are you surprised about this, Gabby?
When I first heard it, I was like, strange. You know, Ramsdale, I thought he had some really, really good games last season. Yes, he can be sometimes a bit erratic and some errors when he's on the ball, but overall, I think he's a top goalkeeper. So to see Raya being linked with Arsenal seems very strange. Is there something that Arteta's seeing? Is he looking at, there's no room for any errors next season? When you're playing the sort of football Arsenal want to play, Champions League games, is he looking at, for 30 mil, maybe I can get this over the line for Raya? Maybe he's an all-round better keeper than Ramsdale. Oh, it's just no one's safe, are they?
No.
I mean, Ramsdale wouldn't have expected this.
Well, I was speaking to an Arsenal fan who's working on this show this morning, and he said if he had both keepers, he would still have Aaron Ramsdale in goal. I think Raya's the better keeper. When you watched him at Brentford, some of the saves, playing from the back as well, he's so good. And there's a reason why teams are after him. Bayern Munich after him, can't meet the valuation. But if you're Ramsdale, you're like, whoa. I saw off a couple of keepers, and now you're looking to replace me. And he wasn't bad last season, was he? Or am I missing certain games? I think majority of the games he was on form. What about the end of the season? So the last 9 games, Arsenal won 3, drew 3, lost 3, and therefore lost the title. And I think some people were looking... Yeah, there were various areas of the team that weren't right, but they were also looking at Aaron Ramsdale, wondering how many goals and therefore how many points he cost Arsenal in that poor run at the end of the season. Do you think Mikel Arteta is looking at that and thinking, hang on a minute, we've got Premier League, we've got Champions League, there's obviously domestic cups as well, and not that he wants to interchange his keepers, but there was no real pressure from Matt Turner on Aaron Ramsdale last season, was there? He signs a goalkeeper of Raya's quality in the Spanish squad. You're thinking, right, I've suddenly got to up my game. Ramsdale can't afford to have a mistake in him at all.
But how many teams in the Premier League do you see with 2 top keepers? You don't.
Yeah, look at City don't do that.
I look at my club, Aston Villa. I'm not keen on our number 2, and you've got Liverpool, you've got Manchester United. Teams don't really have 2 top keepers. So if he wants to go down that route, I understand it. Like you said, put pressure on Ramsdale. A couple of mistakes, you're out. Like in other parts of the field, you've got centre halves, wingers. If you don't have a good game in the top teams, you've got someone that can take your place. Look at Arsenal's squad now. There's players that can really push you. So I can see where he's coming from that, but just looking at Premier League and recently, teams don't really have 2 top keepers, and neither of them is going to accept playing, the Carabao Cup, for instance, and playing the odd Premier League game when one's getting rotated. So interesting to see.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.